Hi, welcome to this new old house and the holiday home tour.
Well, Rebecca, thank you so much for letting us come and tour your house. So your business name is what?
This new old house.
And that came to play because what did you do here?
Well, we actually built our home that you're sitting in today. And when we built it, we were really wanting to find an old farmhouse because we actually lived in a historic Victorian home in town for
you did before
16
this?
years.
Okay.
Yeah, before we built. And so we love all of the old vintage and character of older homes. So we were actually trying to find a old farmhouse, and we looked for 2 years and couldn't find anything. And so this land that we actually built, and I always say it was meant to be because we looked for 2 years. This was the first land that we looked at in our 2-year search, and it was still available 2 years later. So
so you looked at the beginning of the
yes,
search? Okay.
And then it was the last one
Wow.
that we ended up buying. And it was kind of special because when we bought our old Victorian house, my in-laws were still alive. And so my mother-in-law was with us and my father-in-law. And so my mother-in-law walked into the house, and she also loved old homes, and she sat down in the living room. And I'm like, don't you want to look at the rest of the house? And she's like, no. She's like, I know that this is the house that you guys are going to buy. And we made an offer that night, which is crazy because my husband Jim is not a fast decision maker. And so after we looked at the land right before we bought it, we were walking up the hill because we had been walking the property, and a butterfly landed on my hat. And our real estate agent is like, oh my gosh, Rebecca, you have a butterfly that just landed on your hat. And I knew that was a sign because my mother-in-law loved butterflies. So I think she was there like this is it.
Yep,
so,
this is the next one.
Yeah, so we built our new home and added in a lot of character and old heirloom family pieces. So it would remind us more of the character of the older homes. So this new old house was born a year after we built, and mixing the old and the new.
And it's the perfect name, and it definitely, you know, walk in and you definitely can tell it's a new house, but it does have a lot of the charm and character, as everybody will see in the tour, of an old house. And you guys did a lot of the work yourselves.
We did. We actually were our own general contractors on the house, and it took us 9 months to build.
Which is amazing because I feel like that seems pretty darn fast.
Yeah, it was pretty busy 9 months, let me tell you.
Yeah, get the projects done because I want to move in. I understand.
Yeah. This arch here, I wanted it to have a grand entrance to the house, and so I also actually wanted the front door to be lined up with this arch, to be lined up with the back patio door going out. And so the details on here, actually, we wanted it to kind of mimic a old wine barrel. And then this is a copper finish paint. And so it had multiple layers to it. We just mimicked the copper detail that we also have in the rest of the house. So like the copper pendants in the kitchen, the copper gutters outside. There's other little copper details. And all of these dishes are in here are family heirloom dishes from my Grandma Millie, from my mother-in-law, from other dishes that we've maybe collected, like the tea set Jim and I got on our honeymoon, to the poconos. The spoons in there are from Jim's Grandma Zoet. So it's just a collection. This is the sauerkraut that is in progress. It's a 6-week fermentation process. And so I have a crock collection and we use the crocks. We are a huge gardening and canning family. So there's a crock downstairs in the refrigerator with refrigerator pickles from my Grandma Richter's recipe, and the homemade sauerkraut is actually my Grandma Richter's recipe too, and it is delicious. And the crock next to it is a crock from my late in-laws, and then my mother-in-law actually made all those quilts in there.
Oh, that's awesome.
And a couple of them were actually unfinished, and so we had in Lamoni, there's a quilting group, the oldest quilting group in Iowa, so they actually finished some of the quilts, so they did the stitching on here for us. Becky Zoet, Loving Mother, and Grandmother.
That's awesome. So explain to us a little bit about your decorating, whether it's special for the holidays or, just kind of how you picked the pieces that you have picked for your house.
Mm-hmm. So a lot of the pieces in the house are a mix of old and new, a lot of family treasures, a lot of things that we've made. My husband does the handcrafted cutting boards. My daughter does the candles, so the candle burning behind us is from her. And so really just mixing in pieces that I've collected throughout the years is always fun. And then when I dig them out, I'm always, thinking about the memories and the stories that go with the pieces.
Yeah, and you are a big small business supporter. I mean, anybody that follows you on social, I feel like they definitely are going to know that you try and shop small and support small businesses. So, how do you pick the places you go to? Because I do feel like you travel a little bit. Are they just people you've met online, or you guys travel?
I can tell you when I'm walking through the house, like which pieces are from RJ Home in Earlham, which pieces are from White Cottage Market in Winterset. So I definitely have favorites that are within the vicinity of where we live, but also when we travel, we seek out the locally owned restaurants, the locally owned shops. We're always looking for a small town Iowa adventure. So
yeah, which I know that, being a small business owner, everybody really appreciates when people are conscientious about shopping small.
Yeah.
And then you mentioned you have a husband who does cutting boards, your daughter does the candles, and your son does a little bit of something, doesn't he?
Yes, well, the candle business was actually my son's.
Oh, it was
when
originally?
he turned 16, he
Okay.
started it. And my daughter had her cupcake business, Zoe's Cake. So when he went off to college and she turned 16, she passed the 16 candles business down to my daughter.
Okay, well that's awesome.
And he's studying
that
business at Buena Vista.
That makes sense more, because I was thinking that he did the candles and she did cupcakes.
Yes.
But then you said she was doing the candles, so then I was like, okay, I'm messed up here somehow.
Yes,
but
yes.
So what is it with your family and entrepreneurship?
I just feel like we're a creative bunch, and we are always working on a project, and I feel like that was passed down to my kids, whether it's our huge garden out back, whether it's a home project. And so I think they've just watched what I built with this new old house and just have that creative spirit. Yeah.
Well, and you talked about the yard and stuff. You also do bees. Mm-hmm. So what got you started on that?
I just thought beekeeping would be an adventure.
Because seeing you in your little,
yes,
what is that thing called? Probably has a name.
The beekeeper suit.
Beekeeper suit?
Yes,
okay.
Yep. And it has been, and local honey, there's nothing better than local honey. So
my dad, I grew up and he would always take a spoonful of honey and put it in his coffee. That's just how he drank coffee, and that's just what I thought was normal, until I got older. And you mentioned you guys were doing a little baking, which I feel like you guys do some massive cookie baking every year, because I feel like I see that online.
Yeah, so last year was our biggest cookie bake ever with I think 2,600 cookies. So my sister-in-law passed away from cancer, not this October, but the October before, and she was a nursing home administrator. So the nursing home had asked us if we could make cookies for the residents, and they actually did this year, but less cookies this year. And so last year we had, I think, 20 people baking, and I actually divided everyone into baking teams, and everyone had their list of 4 or 5 cookies they were making. So this year I'd say we probably had under 500 cookies. It was a much quieter cookie bake, but
still insane.
Yeah, 12 different varieties and a very busy day.
Well, that is awesome.
Yeah, so the kitchen is where we spend 85% of our time.
Yeah, and it's gorgeous. And that's one thing, especially with this island, you have such a nice work surface in here. So I'm guessing when you laid out your kitchen, you were taking that into consideration.
Definitely. We wanted it to be a kitchen where we could bake and cook and can and entertain. And so the T-shaped island we definitely made large enough to do all of the above.
Yeah. So in addition to your day job, you also have recently launched boxes. So
Yes.
Do you want to tell us a little bit about the boxes and kind of like how that all works?
Yeah, so the Favorite Things boxes are collections of favorite things, and they're themed around seasonal, home, DIY, and pamper every single month. And most of the items that are in the boxes, going along with my passion for supporting small businesses, are from local makers. So it's just a little something to treat yourself once a month, because I feel like as busy moms and women, and we are always on the go, so we don't take enough time to just celebrate us. And so it's a box once a month to treat yourself.
That is awesome. And I've been a recipient of the box. And thinking of the boxes, you know, I never realized that they had been around for so long, just like subscription boxes in general, because my mom was visiting the other day and she was reminiscing about when she was a little girl. She can remember her mom had a subscription box and she got a record. And mom couldn't remember. She didn't think it was every month, but maybe like every 3 months or something. They got a record and then they would just listen to it. But I was like, what? I thought it was something new.
I know, I did too.
So I just thought that was funny. If somebody wants to follow you, where can they find you?
Yeah, so I am on Facebook and I am on Instagram, and you can also go to my website to find more information on the Favorite Things boxes.
Yeah, and we'll put all the information for her whole family's entrepreneurship, small businesses, the cutting boards, the candles, her boxes, let you be able to follow Rebecca on social. Put that down in the description box so it'll be very easy to find. Well, I can't say thank you enough. One, it's super exciting for myself to get to see your house in person, but also just to share it with everybody, and hopefully we've inspired people with how you've decorated and how you've done your home, and definitely how you support small businesses.
Yes, I feel like we should do a little hot cocoa cheers.
Cheers. Thank you, Rebecca.
You're welcome.